Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have two pretty interesting topics going on over here. Number one, the PlayStation 5 Pro has apparently now even been outselling the PlayStation 5, surprisingly. And as well, we also have some pretty big chaotic canceling of a big PlayStation 5 exclusive game that's now coming out and being leaked. So I'm gonna have like a kind of a double whammy, double part video instead of having like 2 4-minute videos, if that makes sense. And as well, I didn't have an earlier video on the day, hope you guys don't mind. I was just drinking last night and kind of hungover. So at this point, I took a nap and I'm kind of vibing, so that's why we're making this video. Let's go dive on into it. We might have a little bonus video later on tonight too as well. So subscribe if you guys are new for our PS5 Pro giveaway that'll be done by the holidays. We also have the secondary YouTube, the Twitters and Twitches down below, all the affiliate links too as well if you guys want to pick up any of your consoles like the PS5 Pro. And of course, let's go dive on into it. So first and foremost, we're actually now seeing a pretty big new notice over here too. Hope you guys don't mind the random camera once again. Was drunk last night, was probably doing some crazy stuff. Basically saying the PS5 Pro allows Sony to triple their hardware sales in Japan as of the month of release in November. Absolutely kind of crazy. So sales of the PS5 have tripled in Japan during November compared to the previous month due to the additional release of you have like the Switch and then Switch Lite. You count them both. You have the Xbox Series S. You count them both. You have the PS5, PS5 Slim, PS5 Pro. You count them all. Like you're kind of rolling that stuff on out. So apparently now with the PS5 Pro, it has been selling crazy sales, dude. Crazy. So apparently the high-end console moved 102,000 units, which is absolutely insane. Don't forget this is also in Japan, and don't forget this is also like only in one individualized area, but sometimes these are somewhat correlative towards other regions like the UK, Australia, United States. Now it's not always a one-to-one, and obviously Japan sells a little bit less consoles in comparison to these other regions or whatever, but at the same time this is great. This is selling better than people thought. Especially they've had a little bit of a weird hiccup on like bad news and the PSSR implementations we've touched about a lot on the channel, which sucks. I own one, so I don't want them to like not work or if I'm trying to be like, hey, here's either your affiliate links or whatever, like I want like them to work, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like, hey, buy this random mediocre product that no one likes. But people have still like it. There has still been perks. There's a lot of other various games out there, and I do think the PSSR issues thankfully are still being addressed. So like it's not the worst, but still it sucks. Like I'm not going to take away from that, but it kind of goes to show that the sales are kind of okay. So with the overall PS5 sales hitting 151,000 between all the 3 versions of the system, unlike the original release though, the PS5 back in the day, the Pro still has been readily available as of like day 1 with no major stock shortages to speak of, which is kind of crazy. So number one, this kind of goes to show that the PS5 Pro is actually selling better than expected. People actually enjoy the console more than we would think, and more people are still willing to spend the money on it, even though it is on that somewhat exuberant $700 price tag. Really quickly before the next topic through, they had some other fun stuff like Dragon Quest is doing really good, which kind of makes sense. Like Japanese people like this type of stuff. I don't know, like Dragon Quest was cool. I saw the anime, I've seen the games, it's kind of a cutesy game or whatever, and that's the remake out there back in the day, and it sold apparently 900,000 units, which is crazy because I'm curious and like how like this would even be in America. Like I mean, Americans like these types of games, JRPGs, RPGs, whatever, but at the end of the day, like they're not usually selling 900,000 units though in a few launch weeks. Crazy. Where the PS5 sold 200,000, Switch sold 700,000. Crazy, dude. Crazy. Either way, kind of cool to go into that the PS5 is apparently doing better than expected. Now, some crazy also news too as well is that Ubisoft, although been very negatively in the news as of per recent, is like apparently in bigger scandals, bro. It's kind of weird. There's been some big rumors on Ubisoft like potentially being sold. If you guys want to make a video on that, I actually would probably find that really entertaining. But like Ubisoft is potentially going to get sold. Like we're seeing early rumors on that and discussions on that. And it's crazy now because apparently a PlayStation exclusive game Wild for the PS5 or PS5 Pro, I think more so for the PS5, but whatever, probably on both, basically had a huge random scandal. And apparently there is just so many people blowing money and wasting money over on, well, Ubisoft. It is, well, this is a PlayStation exclusive, so we'll never see it because I think the game is all dug on. Saying Michelle Ancel, back in name, says the game was crushed by Ubisoft's Paris team, which was itself in chaos. Which, like, what even, this is like a random woman in a tree. Like, bro, like, this would be, like, imagine, like, the full body of this, like, just, it's not a vibe. Like, her, like, torso is right here. So are they just the tree? Are they just in the ground? Like, God only knows. I think there's a cat. Like, bro, what is going on here? Anyway, so the former Ubisoft designer, Michel Ancel, has said the way his game Wild was handled was just a real scandal. And this has kind of been, like, a background issue where a lot of things, like, I don't know, some games just in the middle way of their development cycle just get canceled, whether it's from Sony or Ubisoft or EA or even Activision, whatever it might be. So saying Wild was a survival game that was announced back in 2014. So once again, like realize how long these dev cycles can be. It'd be like 5-10 years sometimes. It's crazy. I think usually around like 6 or 7 is the nowadays anticipated time, unless it's like one of those crazy games like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty that come out like all the time. Like they have like a 3-year cycle, but they just know what they're doing. Like they got like 1,000 people. It's hard to mess up a game like that. It was set to be a PS4 exclusive to be published on Sony Interactive Entertainment and developed by Ncell's newly formed indie developer Wild Sheep Studio. However, during the departure from the games industry in 2020, the future of Wild basically was just no one knew what was going on with it, with journalist Chef Grubb claiming the fall knew that it has been canceled. Now, in an interview with Super4, Ansel has explained what happened to Wild, blaming Ubisoft was the way it took over the project and literally crushed it in his view. Wild had an unfortunate fate, Ansel recalled. In 2018, we had a very nice playable version, but we took a long time to upgrade the game to PS5, which slowed down production. So once again, it kind of goes to show that people trying to port to these other different consoles in regions sometimes have issues with it, you know? Sometimes it just doesn't work. And that was, I think, a big life cycle issue with the PS4 to PS5, where like you say you're making a game, and some games such as like God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man, or even Ghost of Tsushima, they had this weird, like, do we just scrap the game and go pure PS5? Like, what do we do? Especially because we've had this weird cross cycle generation, which is still kind of issue, which I don't know how to, like, it's been like 5 years. It's crazy. But anyway, they said they had an unfortunate fate. They had a playable version, but it's going to take time to upgrade, which slowed down production, and there were major changes, and the game just stopped, where Ubisoft offered to take it over shortly after Sony decided to get it back, even offering to double the budget. Unfortunately, contracts with Ubisoft were well advanced, and we turned down Sony's offer. What a shame. Basically saying like this game could have been absolutely dope and released over here, but, well, sad that was all messed up. And also there were various drama too with other people, where obviously there is a lot of bad stuff. And also, if you guys want to see the game, that's why I'm playing up in the background down below over here, although it's at 480p. Like, the game seemed cool. Like, imagine like a Rust, imagine like I don't know, Minecraft, but not. I mean, like, you could see the bare bones, and this is probably just like a, like, let's see where the game kind of goes type trailer. I've always liked these, like, co-op survival-ish type style games. Like, this almost kind of gives me, like, Sea of Thieves vibes, or Rise of Conan, I think that was. Like, Conan Exiles, maybe is the better word. I forgot exactly what it was. I also want to play Path of Exiles, too, just randomly yapping. But, like, I've always liked the idea of, like, these builder games, and you develop stuff, and you make things, and you do stuff with it. I don't know, I've always liked these. And it doesn't look horrible. Going for instance, also PS4 would have been way nicer graphically on the PS5 or PS5 Pro. It's actually probably one of those good games that would actually, unless there was a lot of shimmering, would probably be fantastic for the PS5 Pro. A lot of copy paste and extravagance of the world and all that. But it kind of sucks because apparently some of these games just didn't work out good. They're saying it was during that period they burned out. They didn't have the chance to work on it. The game fell in the hands of Ubisoft's editorial department in Paris, which was just chaos. Like, I've heard a lot of bad things about some of these Ubisoft like department places. Doesn't seem good. Like, Ubisoft doesn't seem like a place I don't want to work at or do stuff with. I was no longer there to defend the game, which was literally crushed by people in this department who are asking for all sorts of changes without actually playing the game. And I think that really is the biggest deal when it comes to games. Like, it sucks. Like, no one wants to go and sit there and be like, well, this game was made by a random person who played the game for 5 minutes, because that's my biggest deal. Like, I'll go through like a tutorial and be like, did they even play this? Did that someone like who actually played the game sit from start to finish to do this mission? Did they see all these bugs that were very obvious? Like the wording, the text stuff, like all that stuff. Like, it's one of my biggest bother, which just shows that the people who made the game never really played the game, you know? I'm saying too as well, it just sucks. And I feel like this kind of leads towards a lot of different games too, where a lot of games out there, I feel like, I don't know, they just don't have the love anymore. Like, they'll have 1,000 people, and then you basically spread that love of a game between 1,000 people, and you have someone just showing up for a paycheck, which is totally fine. I mean, sometimes that's what you gotta do. What you gotta do, you gotta do some 3D modeling, and you don't care about the game. Maybe you even are in the games industry unwillingly. Like, that happens. I mean, sometimes people end up in like sports. They don't know sports, but they're good at writing articles, or good at filming, or good at recording stuff. It's just, it's a job sometimes. But that side sometimes feel like shows a lot in these games, and I don't know, like, it's not really PlayStation's fault, I guess, too much. It's not really, like, it's probably more so Ubisoft's fault at this point. And Ubisoft hasn't really been the best company recently, as I'm sure you guys probably know. There's been a lot of turmoil with and stuff. And it is one thing to make a good game. Like, Ubisoft maybe 10 years ago was banging, bro. Like, it was great games. But sadly, it seems like it's gotten worse. And I still want to know when Beyond Good and Evil is going to come out, because we still have basically heard zero news about them, and it makes me sad. And apparently a lot of these issues with these development on that big game out there is the big problem, with a lot of people saying, like, like this is just rough, dude, as well. So I don't know. It kind of sucks that some of these games will never see the light of day. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on little random stories. Make sure you guys are also just, I don't know, sub here for the PS5 Pro giveaway, everything else. Affiliate links down below. I appreciate y'all for watching very, very much.